Hello guys and welcome back to another figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the NECA official ghost-faced action figure. This is a figure I've been looking to get my hands on to review for a very long time. Luckily NECA re-released it in 2020 and we've got our hands on it. The version we've got now is actually boxed very similarly to the original released Ghostface by NECA that is actually very hard to buy. Well, not hard to buy, but expensive to buy, even on sites such as eBay, where it's going for nearly £100–200 just because it was so rare. Ghostface, of course, comes from the hit film Scream. Scream's my favourite horror film franchise of all time, and it's great to see an action figure of him that we can display on our shelf. So, let's take a look at the packaging for this Ghostface figure. First of all, obviously it's a little bit dusty as the packaging, but usually comes with plastic windows like this, but there's a gorgeous open window where we can see the figure displayed with all his accessories, and it's a fantastic addition to the set. Definitely something worth looking at. Let's take a look at the rest of the packaging. Of course, you can see this gorgeous cartoon drawing art style, of course, of Ghostface with some kind of horror Halloween mansion in the background, this gorgeous purple halo. Fantastic art piece. If I was going to buy a poster of some kind of Scream art, this would be a buy. In terms of looking for who drew this, there is a signature under the thing, which I'll just show you now. There we go. That is the signature of the artist. I'm not sure what it says. I think it says Disbaront or something 16. Not cute, not too sure what it says, but as you know, that is the idea of the figure, and of course it says Ghostface. As you can see here, it has the big Ghostface kind of logo across. It does say the name of the character that we are reviewing, and the best part is the F is shaped to look like his knife, which I think is an extra little detail with the blood dripping off that they added. Of course, it does give you the age 17s and up warning. This is because obviously it comes from a horror movie, which I'm pretty sure is rated A15. In the US, that would be an R-rated, or so a 17 ages up action figure for this. It is a collector's edition. It makes sense why it's been labelled that. Let's take a look at the back. On the back we have some film negatives that are stained with blood, which is a cool addition. I'd love to have that on a film poster. And of course we have 3 images of the action figure in various poses. One of course using the walkie-talkie voice changer, and the other 2 holding the knife in various poses. And it does say at the bottom, includes knife, voice changer and interchangeable hand. Then we do have all the gobbledygook, but we don't need to read all that. One thing I will say actually, and it's something you don't really see on many figures, is everyone that has done something involved in making this figure is credited on the box. Of course, we've got all the names that were done for painting it, the prototypes, who did the photography for the box, who's made the packaging, the design and direction of it, the sculptor, and of course the fabrication and tailorer who put this figure together. I think that's a neat little addition, because usually when I review a figure, I have no idea who did it, I criticise it, but the fact that I can put some names to this critique, they need to know how to do a better job if I don't like the figure. But we'll take a look at it because, well, Ghostface is my favourite character, so it's worth taking a look at. Okay, so, wow! Alright, let's get into this review. In terms of detail, that is, without a doubt, a Ghostface mask. You can tell I love the texturing on it, I love how well it's painted, I love how deep the eyes look. It's been well sculpted, I can't fault them for the Ghostface mask, and it looks just like he does in the Scream movies. Of course, it doesn't look like the dodgy MTV version that we don't talk about, because that wasn't Ghostface. This is Ghostface, but does Ghostface have to be the killer in Scream? Debatable. Depends what kind of a fan you are. For me, Ghostface is the killer all the way, but I'm open to new ideas and new adventures. This figure stands approximately 8 inches high, so he doesn't really fit in line with a lot of the other horror figures, but he does also not fit in line with the 5-inch figures like Doctor Who and DC. But in terms of an action figure, this is a very good height, and it kind of shows the dominance of the Ghostface character. As you can see, he's got this black cloak on, which has some slight silver glare on, so that you can't really tell because of the lighting. Even if I change the lighting slightly, I don't think you'll be able to tell the shimmers there. Okay, you can slightly see the shimmer in the fabric. That's about as good as I can get to showing you the fabric. Moving down, his hands are just made to look like basic leather gloves, but there is some slight detail on the sculpting, which I think is a neat little addition because it's something that a lot of figure makers don't really take into consideration. Moving down, he has these gorgeous brown boots that look like clown shoes, and of course we can tell that he's got black pants under his robe. Yes, the boots are accurate. He does wear very similar sort of black, but he does wear similar shoes slash boots in the films. However, I'm pretty sure they're always black to go with the outfit. I mean, it's a bit weird, a killer walking around dressed in black and then having black shoes. But at the same time, I'm sure they've done this to maybe hint at the character that's inside it, or maybe hint at the fact, maybe just to break up the colour a little bit, and just to give it its own variation. But that's really it for the detail. I do love the details on the shoes. They do look really like leather shoes. Let's take a look at the articulation. Okay, so for articulation, his head does do a 360, but of course is slightly hindered by the thing. Taking the hood down, you can tell, of course, it is just a sculpted head with even a black hood on, which is quite interesting, because if you didn't want him to have this, it still has a hood on, and you can't see who's behind the mask. Moving down, you've got his arm. Of course, it does do a 360, but it is hindered slightly by the flares on the arm, so you do have to move the fabric back around. There is no elbow articulation that I can feel. He can do a 360 swivel at the bicep. He can do a 90-degree bend at the elbow, and his hand does swivel 360 and move forward and backwards. In terms of leg articulation, of course you guys can't see it. I would actually say this particular version of the figure I've got does have very flimsy legs. If I just lift his cloak up a second, you can see that he has some black trousers on, which I think is a neat little addition. And he also, can we just talk about the fact that this guy's ripped? Like, if I was gay, I'd be on him. Like, look at the abs on that thing. Ghostface has abs. Did you know that? But yeah, in terms of articulation, there's no waist articulation. He can do the splits, but he'll probably rip his pants if you push it too forward. He can sit down. His legs do move forward and backwards. There's no thigh articulation. He does have a 90-degree bend at the knee, and there's some forward, upwards and downwards foot articulation. He just kept falling over. Surprisingly, he has held himself quite well this time, but that's it for the actual figure. Overall, what would I give the figure for detail and look-alike of the character? I'm going to give him a 10 out of 10 because I love the Ghostface action figure. It's a figure I've wanted to be able to hold my entire figure collecting life, which is a very long time because I'm an old person now. But let's take a look at the accessories that this bad boy comes with. These are the 3 accessories this action figure comes with. It comes with a voice changer, a knife, and a spare hand. We're going to move the hand out of the way for a second, and we are going to take a look at the voice changer in a minute because I've noticed some really cool details onto it that I'm amazed they've added. But let's take a look at the knife. Now, this is I can't remember the type of knife it is. I want to say it's a fish slice knife or a hunting knife. I can't remember what the name of the knife is, but it is a really cool knife. I love the fact that it sort of curves down at the end and has the jagged thing. I will say that there is some slight paint missing there on the edge. It is a very reflective, shiny knife. And I do love the details on the handle. And in terms of looking like the knife from the film, 10 out of 10. It's exactly the same. Maybe not these little jagged bits, but I think that's probably supposed to be like where the light reflects onto it, as I'm pretty sure it is just a smooth blade in the actual film. But other than that, it's a good addition to the figure. Moving on, we have the voice changer. This is what Billy uses in the film, at least in the first film. Spoilers if I've spoiled Scream for you, but it has been out since 1996, 1997, so yeah, I haven't really spoiled a film that's been out that long. If you haven't seen it, go buy the DVD. I've got the extended edition on Blu-ray. I love the film, alright? Anyway, so let's take a look at the voice changer. I love the fact that the microphone has somewhat of a slight little, like, hatch effect into it. Actually, you guys can't really see that. Okay, so I love the fact that it has some kind of little hatch effect within the microphone. And I also want to note the fact that this bit here, I can't tell if it's supposed to be the button or no, they're the buttons. So I love the fact that all the buttons have been included. This is where he speaks into, and this here is basically where that's the speaker. That is where the voice changes and comes out of. And can we just note that, for detail, they've included the goddamn battery pack. Like, I've never seen a phone action figure or anything accessory with an action figure this small that thinks about the tiny details, such as the fact that this thing had a battery pack. And I'm pretty sure it probably takes 2 AA batteries, or maybe 3 AAA. But wow, the detail on this, the fact that the buttons are all differently coloured. Wow, it's tiny. It's such a tiny thing. I'll show you in the hand of the character later. But wow, wow. I can't actually believe that this is an accessory with an action figure. That's ridiculous. Lastly, he does have a spare hand, of course. You can see the detail of what's supposed to be a leather glove. It is just black, very similar to the others, but you can tell that this is supposed to be sort of his knife-holding hand, which we can put onto the character in just a moment. It's your favourite scary movie. Yeah, okay, so here he is holding his voice changer. I kind of wanted to show you this first before I put the knife in his hand, because it means I'm going to have to change his hand. I can't believe you can get him to pose holding this. It's so cool, and it is making me have a geekgasm because I love Ghostface. It's my favourite horror film, and this figure does Ghostface justice. And he looks so good displayed next to all the other horror icons. This character is such an inspiration to me. Well, I really should say serial killer is inspirational. What I mean is, in terms of the film and the fact that this figure looks so much like him, it is good to be able to hold it and review it for you guys, because honestly, if you can get your hands on this, I think I paid £60 for this figure. Pay it. Pay it, pay it, pay it, pay it, pay it. Get this figure. Collect the NECA action figures if you can, because they're so detailed. In terms of action figure world and collecting, Hot Toys, NECA, bang. They nail it to a T. They get the figures right. Character options used to be good, but they've just declined over time. Of course, the ones that do also make DC figures, they're usually bang on time as well, but I'm not sure what the company that makes them is actually called. But NECA have done a fantastic job with this figure. Let's take a look at Ghostface and the act of murder. Okay, so he's now killing the Doctor. In terms of the reason I use the Doctor is so I can actually show you guys a comparison of how tall this figure is compared to a 5-inch standard action figure. He is massive. Like, she looks like a child next to him. If he was going to murder her, he genuinely, I mean, she'd have no chance. Other than the fact that she'd regenerate and probably burn his eyes out or something and kill him anyway. But the fact that, it was Jill in the 4th one, spoilers. But just that should look in terms of how the character looks, in sort of comparison to a 5-inch standard action figure range. So here he is holding his knife, ready to gut you like a fish. Find out what your scary movie is. He looks so good holding this figure. And one thing I will say is, let's just move this cloth a second. Usually whenever you change the hands on an action figure, like this is just his other spare hand. Whenever you change a hand on an action figure like this, usually you have to twist it a little bit to pull it out, and then it's quite stiff to get the next one in. This one was so easy to just plug and pop. It was such a thing to do. I've never had such ease with such a good figure before. Ghostface is definitely one figure that I've been trying to get hold of for a while, and it's something I'll be happy to look at. Even though I did buy it for my girlfriend, it is something I'll be good to look at on a shelf and take photos of every now and again. But guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button down below to show your appreciation for this content so I can keep making more videos for you guys and stay motivated. If you haven't already, please turn on your notifications bell and of course, subscribe or I'll gut you like a fish.